Hello friends, Cheryl here with Inked Pulp, and I'm back with a really special flip through today. Um, and I need to give you a little bit of backstory so you understand where this it's not really a journal, and you'll see that in just a minute. Last summer, last July, I was doing an art show over in Sugar Mountain, North Carolina, and I met a delightful lady named Maria. And she came into my booth and she saw a lot of my fabric arts. I'm a metalsmith as well. I do some fabric stuff. She saw my bags and she loved them. She saw the journals and the bookmarks, and she just thought I was so creative in how I used paper and fabric. And she asked me if she could send me some things. She said her husband had recently passed away. He passed away in April. This was in July. And that she had been collecting all her married life, laces and fabrics and doilies and trims and all kinds of stuff. And she was having to downsize because she thought she might need to move, and wanted her things to go to somebody who would appreciate them and use them. And I said, "Oh, I would be honored." I said, "But I would want to pay you for them." And she said, "Oh, no, no, I just want them to go somewhere where they'll be used." And Maria's in her 80s, and she's a spry lady, spry young lady, let me just tell you. And she lives down south from me. And I said, "Okay." So I gave her my address, and she says, "Well, don't be surprised if you get a couple of boxes in the mail. That'll be my stuff coming to you." And I said, "Okay." Well, I've had ladies come to my booth and say the same kind of thing, and I never see anything. So I wasn't really expecting anything to show up in the mail. And lo and behold, a few weeks later, I get these two huge priority boxes. And I mean, they were huge. And so I opened them up, and it was from Maria, and there were just such beautiful things in it. So y'all know I do art before breakfast in the mornings. It's a live stream where we craft and make things. So I told the group, I said, let's make one of my fabric bags for Maria. And you can go search in my playlist in Art Before Breakfast and see, the bag for Maria. So anyway, we made a bag and sent it to her, and she was just so grateful. I mean, and I called her because she sent me a thank you card. And so she put her phone number on it. So I called her and I said, "Oh, it was just such a delight to get your box, and I wanted to make you something, and we made everything from the stuff you sent." And she asked me on that phone call if I would make a book for her husband. They were going to have a celebration of life a year after his passing, which is April 13th. And would I make a book that sort of featured him? It's not a journal, but it's a celebration of life book. And I said, "Oh gosh, I would be honored." So she sent me a bunch of pictures and memorabilia and all sorts of things from his life. And this is the book I finished, and it is going in the mail today. So I did ask her, by the way. I said, "Are you okay if I do a flip through to show, folks what we did?" And she said, "Absolutely, yes, that would be fine." So I'm here to show you Frank's celebration of life. I'm not going to reveal his full name, but this is the cover photo. This was him about 2 to 3 years old, and I decided that picture just had to go on the cover. And we've got the book corners, and then these are upholstery tacks, by the way. I just cut off the back of them and sanded them down and used them like brads. And then on the spine, this is a 2 signature book, and I put regular brads in the holes to, hold the strings and just give it some more character. And then this is a cloth cover. It's an old curtain, but it's got real texture on it. It's real bumpy. I love it. So that's that. On the inside, we have handmade mulberry paper for the inside cover, which is really pretty. And then I have a strip of the front fabric to cover the spine. The first page, and I've covered up his name, but the first page is just all about him. And this was a bio that his wife sent me, and I typed it up. Now, the rest of the book is set up so that the left side of the page is a memory page. The right side of the page has a pocket with a quote on it, and then in the pocket are these cards. Because this was such a lumpy, bumpy thing, I didn't really have, she wanted it to be like a guest book. And I couldn't really designate a page for writing on because there's so many lumps and bumps in it. So I told her what I was going to do is make up some cards, and it's got a place for their name and their email. That's the information she wanted. And then share a story about Frank if they want to share. And then, they got the whole backside. I didn't print on the back, but so there's cards in here. There's about 70, 75 of them. That's how many she's thinking will be there. Now, Frank was a Florida Gators alumni. He was a diehard Gators fan, and he also had a career at IBM where he spent 30 years at IBM. So that's a little background about him. Liked to golf, and so Maria sent me some cloth napkins, and I'm sorry, not napkins, handkerchiefs. And she said, please use these. So I cut this out, and then this little flower I fussy cut out from the hanky, and then same thing down here, and then I flipped them back over. I put the Florida Gator here, and then the flower on that, and then this is just a little picture of Frank with his siblings when he was real little, and a flower. On the right side, the quote here is, "Like a bird singing in the rain, let graceful memories survive in times of sorrow." And that's by Robert Louis Stevenson. Okay. This is Frank about, I think she said 5 or 6 maybe. Frank also loves sunflowers, so I put the sunflowers behind him in this picture. And then for the quote, "The connections we make in the course of our life, maybe that's what heaven is." I love that quote. That's by Fred Rogers. Okay. And then on this page, I made a mat out of some Florida colors. I've got a little pennant here, a little plastic pennant she sent. We put that at the top. And then this is Frank playing with pots and pans out of his mama's cupboard. And she said he used to love to play with pots and pans when he was little. So she had sent this mat board as well, and I didn't know what I was going to use it for, but then those little pictures fit in there just perfect. And this quote is, "Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened." Dr. Seuss. And what a handsome guy Frank was. This is his senior picture from high school. And this quote says, "In the end, it's not the years in your life that count, it's the life in your years." And most of us have heard that quote. That's from Abraham Lincoln. Then I had a sticker, a Florida Gator sticker that I used as a pocket. And then she also sent, and I'm assuming this because he liked the Bahamas. This is the Central Bank of Bahamas, a $1 bill. And I thought the colorful side was the best one to put in there. So we just stuck that in there. And this quote is, "Wherever a beautiful soul has been, there is a trail of beautiful memories." And that was Ronald Reagan who said that. This is a fun one. This is Frank with an old high school classmate. This was their school mascot was a dragon, and this was at a high school reunion. I don't know which year it was, but this was at a high school reunion. And then I used as the background the other side of that napkin. I didn't cut it out. I left it all together, but that's the other side of that napkin. And then because he likes sunflowers, this is just a tuck that goes in there just for, and I would have glued it down, except that I wanted to put, Frank had lots of surgeries. He had lots of, medical issues, and she said even through all of that, he was so happy and sounds like a really wonderful guy. Well, this was a chart that she sent of where she would have to take his blood pressure several times a day after the surgeries to make sure, everything was still okay. So I thought I'd stick that in the back just so she has it. I didn't want to prominently display it because that's kind of personal information, but I wanted to put it in there for her. And this quote is, "We think there is endless time to live, but we never know which moment will last. So share, care, love, and celebrate every moment of life." And that was by an anonymous writer. All right. Oh, this one. I like this one. So Frank liked to golf at the plantation. So I took a napkin I had that had all golf stuff on it, put it down first, and then this is a scorecard from the golf course. And this is Frank and a friend of his. I put that picture in there. And then this is a card for the director of catering. I don't know what special place she had in his life, but obviously it was important because it was in the box of stuff I got. So I put those on the inside and then put it on a piece of green paper with some brads. So I really like that page. This quote, "I am ready to meet my maker. Whether my maker is prepared for the great ordeal of meeting me is another matter." That was kind of a fun one. Winston Churchill said that. And then this celebrates IBM, or Frank's 30-year career at IBM, and one of his pins that he got, and IBM with him kind of looking over it. And the background on this page, this was really interesting. So Maria sent me a bunch of catalogs, and she said, maybe you can use some of the images from these. And I wasn't quite sure how I was going to use it because the catalogs, there were 3 of them, I think, were all women's clothing. They were women's clothing catalogs, and it was women, modeling the clothes. And I was pretty sure she didn't want women. I was teasing her about that, in the celebration of life. So what I did is I went in and cut out little squares or rectangles from a lot of the pages with just the textures and the colors. And I glued those down in a collage format and used that for the background of this page. So I did use the catalogs that she sent me. And this quote is, "What we once enjoyed and deeply loved, we can never lose, for all that we love deeply becomes part of us." And that was Helen Keller. One of my favorite pages here. This is some flannel fabric that she sent me. And then these are all little thumbnail pictures, not really thumbnails, but small wallet-sized pictures of her and Frank at their 50th wedding anniversary. And so I thought that was a fun page. And this quote goes with this perfectly. It says, "If there ever comes a day when we can't be together, keep me in your heart. I'll stay there forever." So I love that quote with them. And then the very last page was also from their 50th wedding anniversary. And the background on this one of the hankies that she sent had all this lace around it, and then it's like a linen in the middle. So since we're talking about wedding anniversary, I thought that fabric was, or that lacy stuff was just perfect. And the quote here is, "A great soul serves everyone all the time. A great soul never dies. It brings us together again and again." Maya Angelou said that. And I thought that that was a great way to end it because these people are all coming together to celebrate Frank's life. And so it says, great soul never dies. It brings us together again and again. So that is the Celebration of Life journal. I have to say, this was one of the most challenging projects I've ever worked on. One, I felt a lot of pressure to make it really special for her because she's such a special lady, and her and I have bonded, and we're keeping in touch. But also because it's not a junk journal. It's not solemn, but it just has a lot of meaning. It's very different than anything I've ever done before, and I wasn't quite sure how to go about it. And it really took me out of my comfort zone, made me think outside the box, and it was hard. It was really hard, but I'm so happy with how it turned out. I am so honored that Maria asked me to do this for her, and I've got to get it in the mail because the celebration of life is on the 13th and today is the 4th. So I've got to get it in the priority mail today so she gets it on time. But I wanted to share this with you guys. One, to show you what a special, thing that I was asked to create and what an honor it was. But two, to tell you that if you ever are faced with something that's just really challenging and really outside the box for you, just sit down, do it one page at a time, and it will come together. I mean, I'm just thrilled with how this came together. So anyway, I just wanted to share. Please give me a thumbs up, and if you are not a current subscriber, consider subscribing, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye, everybody.